हेलो। अरे हाँ। नहीं, अचानक से गया, गायब भी हो गया था, फिर मुझे लॉगिन करना पड़ा। कुछ इम्पोर्टेंट कर रहा था, दिखा रहा था तो भाग गया। ओके, नो वरीज। ओके। ओके। सो क्या दिखा रहा था मैं यार? मिला 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 मिला। See this communication. Okay, why? What I wanted to tell you here. So this is Vijay Shirde, company secretary. Okay, so all this kind of communications, the organizations, uh, send the all the communications through the registrar, company's registrar. Okay, company register. It means it could be one entity or one person's who is the qualified, the CS, the company secretary. So they actually send this all communications to the stakeholders, and the communications format would be like this, and the same communications would be received to the research team as well, or to account activation team, corporate action account activation, or the scrubbing team. Because with the help of this information, so we can create a corporate action event into our accounting system. As I mentioned, so we work on offline data, right? So the same informations, the bank will directly process the dividend to your account as an investor. So whatever amount would be there. See the quantity. This is important number of, and here they have mentioned it. Number of equity shares held on a book's closure recorded. Closure of a business hours. This. That is what. So they will process the dividend per share, which is 1.05 for per shares. The amount is around 210. The tax, if it is applied or not, all the information should be there. And even here you can see the bank information as well, mode of payment as well, everything. Okay, so why this information is important? While processing a corporate action event, we need this information. And even we do check this communication as well. This communication is important because we'll have to uh, keep these communications with us for a future reference as well. If you see any escalations, if you see any kind of the discrepancies in this price, or if you see any discrepancies in the quantity that we had hold on the recorded and all. So for all the for all the further or future escalations, so we should have this written drafted communication with us. Okay, so this is how this the registrar work. Because and every registrar will appoint the registrar who will help them to design the corporate actions event or to evaluate the corporate action events or to verify the impact of a corporate action events and all. And whenever the company take any decision, so they are abide to inform to their registrar first. And once the registrar received this information, then a registrar is even comply with the norms, which is the how to inform to the agent banks, custodians, depositories, and even other stakeholders. This is how this the corporate action communication pass. Okay, then the agent banks, any entity who provide the facility like to buy and sell the securities, buy and sell the security. Then the depositories and custodian. Here that we'll discuss little bit about these two players. Even that you mentioned that you want some in the detailed discussion about the custodians and depositories. Okay, so agent bank. So here that don't need to discuss much about it because it's an entity that they are providing the services like buy and sell services to their clients or stakeholders, and it could be any entity that play role as an agent bank. But here the custodians and depositories, the regulator, they announce or they provide the license to run their business as a custodian or depositories. And probably the depositories, these are like they closely work with the custodians because depositories they allocate license to the custodians. And then after, once they opted the custodian license, they can take the custody of shares. Custody, it means by definition, it's like to provide safety. That's it. To provide safety or safeguard services to the investment. That is what this the custodian came into picture. Otherwise, uh, there is no role for custodian. And when we look to the crypto market, there we won't see any player like custodian, depositories, and all. It's like end-to-end buying and selling platform. You can directly sell your securities to the buyer, and even you can sell the securities to the buyer. Buyer can sell the securities to the seller, vice versa. But if you see, so we have a cycle which is T plus 2 for equity. For a bonds, we have, if it is a government bonds, we have a T plus 1, and this is for government bonds. And other corporate bonds, we have a T plus 2. Loans, if you say any loan obligations, there the settlement would be around T plus 5 for a loan syndication product, and T plus 10 would be for the loan market product associations. And the derivatives they actually settled on their expiries. Weekly or monthly, depends on the contract. Okay, except about except this one, and even this one also. But yes, they submit their the all the proofs. Okay, so we'll talk about this too. Okay, hello, Abhi, are you there? Okay, okay, so we'll talk about this too, equity and bonds. So when we say equity and bonds, so we have a turnaround time for settlement which is T plus 2. But the common thing in between, when we, let's say, we'll talk about buyer and seller first. Buyer and seller. Buyer hold the demat account, correct? Even seller also hold the demat account. They hold the accounts with the depositories, correct? This would be helpful for a recon purposes while performing the recons and all. So we should know that how they do exactly. Then up to depositories, okay. And the same way, so they will have a one account which is trading account, correct? One demat account and one that is the trading account. Spelling mistake. The trading account would be with broker, correct? Yes, CDSL, NSDL. Okay. Or depositories, or here you can select custodian also, because actually that the positions will be transferred to the custodians. Actually, what happened, I'll tell you. The depositories, they allocate license to the custodians. The government body, NSDL, it's just a body. Okay, they allocate the license to the entities who are willing to work as a custodians, who are ready to take the custodian of your securities on behalf of the NSDL, right? So NSDL don't want. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, depository work as a, even the regulator as well, you can say, like, because this is like closely work with the SEBI. SEBI is the regulator for the market, uh, listed companies and all. So that is what, because see, it's bit difficult to manage the, the trillions of transactions volume within a day to trace to them, right? It's a bit difficult. That is what depository allocate their licenses to the entities who are ready to work as a custodians. And that is what, if you see, the on every trades and transactions they charge 15 rupees. Wait a minute. We'll discuss that part as well. Okay, so that is what they charge fees as well. Okay, for a per transaction. Okay, so whenever you do intraday trades, so those will be with the brokers. First of all, those you cannot transfer that securities to the depositories. That is what, those trades will be in open status. Okay, whenever you see any, the short trades or intraday trades, So intraday, all the activities will be happened in the broker's trading account. Which accounts? Broker's trading account. But whenever you purchase something, whenever you hold something, suppose you have purchased the Infix shares, around 500 shares that you have purchased. So you will send a request to your broker first that you are looking for a, because while selecting the buy order, we choose the delivery options as well. So you are looking for an intraday or delivery, right? So we select that options as well. So when you provide that instructions that you are looking for a positions, so that instructions will receive to your broker, only instructions. Then broker what will do, this broker will try to book the contract. It means, because broker, they have access of a BSC terminal, so where they can see the live trades. So once you send the instructions, the brokers book the trades for you. Once they book the trades for you, they send the instructions to the depositories or to the custodians. Why custodians? When the seller send the instructions for selling, the same activity happened at this place as well. But here the activity will happen for a selling purpose, because the seller want to sell 500 quantities. The seller will send the instructions to the broker that he is looking for a selling his holding. And broker what can do here? Broker can book the trades. If the seller is having a same and the price of the securities, let's say 10 for per securities, and even the seller is looking for a 10 price for a per securities, then the broker will book the instructions first of all, or book the trades into the broker system. And broker will send the instructions to the depositories, because when we say holding on a T plus 2 basis, the positions has been settled in the books of account of seller, right? So already positions has been settled. Who can release these positions? Only the depositories or custodians can release the positions, because after 2 days broker already processed, or the dispositions or the instructions already had been sent to the custodians at the time of purchase the securities from a seller side, and that is what the positions now has been settled in the accounts of seller, and those are still with the demat account. But when the seller send the instructions for the sell the securities, and if you have a any open order, that is the buyer is looking for the same quantities with the same price, so what you can do, you can send as a broker, or you are the desk team, what they can do, they can send the same instructions to the custodian that stating that the please debit the positions, or else they directly make an entry in their books of account is like the seller and buyer. Seller account debited the quantities and credit the cash, and the buyer account they debit the quantities, sorry, debit the cash, credit the quantities. It's type of just instructions. When you see such instructions, so you will have an idea that suppose you're working with custodians, so you can read this the instructions that the seller want to means you have received the instructions for to debit the securities from the seller's account, and the cash will be credited in the books of seller's account as he sold the securities, and the vice versa, the buyers purchase the securities, it means the securities will be credited in the books of buyer's account, and the cash will be debited from the buyer's account because you purchased something. The custodian will do the same activity in their books of account because actually the custodian is holding these accounts with them. And once they transfer the securities to each other, then only we'll get a message that yes, we have received the message. And if you see, so our fund account will be means our cash accounts will be with the brokers as well, right? Once the cash will received, so our cash will reflect in the broker's account. So we'll maintain two to three accounts with the brokers, which is one is the broker trading account, the second is cash account, and third one is demat account. So there's three accounts will be with us, so that you can trace all the even the purchase and sell activities through the cash account, and even you can reconcile that data with the custodians to match the instructions from their end to perform the reconciliation, right? Because if you see any discrepancy in the cash and all, you can pull the reports from the broker side and you can verify it, and after that you can reach out to them to get the confirmation on so why there is a discrepancy or why the trades has been booked with the wrong price, and also whatever concern or queries that you have, you can discuss with them or escalate with them. But eventually all the activities will be happened at here only the custodian side, because actually they are holding the demats account. The brokers and all, they are like just sending the instructions to the custodians, to the depositories, to the they are pulling the information from the exchange and they are sending to the custodians. That is what when you purchase something for a long positions, so most of the broker they don't charge anything to you because they are not doing anything. They are just sending the informations to the custodians. That's it. They are not processing anything. They are not debiting anything. They are not doing anything in their account. They are just sending the instructions that you have received. uh, there's data for a seller, there's data for a buyer, or with this particular quantity and price. So that is what. So now here is the main important point is, suppose if you see all the means the custodians is taking care of all the activities buying and selling, right? Eventually, if you see any corporate action event, if issuer announce here again now, so we'll come back here. Any event issuer will announce, so they will inform to the registrar, and registrar is abide to inform to the custodians or else agent bank. And if they inform to the agent bank, so they will have to inform to the custodians, because if the custodians they don't inform to the custodians, then the see the from a custodian side they don't care about it at all. But if you are processing any additional benefit, if you are processing any additional consideration, and if you are not informing them, then they will not allowing that benefits in your account. Eventually your account is with them, they have hold your account, right? So that is what, prior to processing any kind of corporate actions, so we should, or it is like we are all comply with the norms that we should inform to the custodians that we are processing something, we are sending any right distribution corporate actions, we are sending any kind of corporate action events. So the custodian will be in a better positions to inform all the their market players that the so for that particular securities we are having corporate actions events, or will have a corporate action events, or will be there a corporate action events, blah blah things. Okay, so that is what. So this is the custodians plays a very vital role in all the types of the transactions. Even if you want to buy something, even if you want to sell something, you will have to send instructions to the custodians. Without the custodians, how can you process? As a broker, you are just sending the instructions. You are not debiting anything, you are not crediting anything, you are not transferring any securities to anyone. Correct? So the custodian is a very important player, and that is what, even when you purchase something on a T plus 2 basis, so we are entitled, or the custodians are entitled to settle the positions in your account. It means transfer that positions from one demat to another demat. So on a T plus 1 or a T plus 2 basis. Okay. And it's like usual turnaround time. It's take 2 days or 1 days to transfer the securities from, because sometimes so there will be a pricing matter as well. Sometime the brokers can book the book the trades with incorrect price. Suppose you're working with any the desk team who is working as a the trade booking team and all. So in that case, there is a possibility that we have booked the trades with the incorrect price and we have sent the same details to the custodians. So even from custodian side also, they can see the data from the exchange. The exchange will send all the details to them. They will reconcile it, rectify it, and if the details is not matching, so whatever you have sent, then they will escalate that to you guys, to the as a broker team. Then you are entitled to reconcile that all the pricing and details and trade details and all to rectify the the price and all, because eventually if the price is incorrect, then as a broker, so you will have to bear that additional, or else you will have to communicate with the counterparts to provide the additional margin or funding if it is required. And if you have received excess of that, then again in that case also you will have to return that consideration to that particular counterparty. So now come to your point. See, as I mentioned, there is no such a definition that so who can be the custodian. If you are, suppose, let's say in case of JP Morgan, so they work as an agent bank, they work as a custodian, they work as even depositories as well, right? Because if what they do, they create the individual entities within their organization by the name of depositories, by the name of custodians, by the name of agent banks, and they provide such a facilities to their counterparts. Eventually all the entities are working for a profit, or the margin, even they are looking for a transaction fees and all. That is what, so the same entity can be played multiple roles, that is fine. The BNY, the JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, then the even the HSBC as well. They are even custodian, as well as they are the agent banks as well. Agent is like who is helping you to to bringing the buyer and seller at one place. That's it, and he's charging his commission 1%, 2%, whatever it is. That's it. And the custodian, which is actually providing the safekeeping or security services to your investment holding. That is what, if he is a custodian. So while taking any decisions, you will have to inform to that custodian, because here is a twist, but that I don't want to disclose in this session. So it will take time, right? I don't want to discuss much in only this session, but because why the even we are entitled to inform to the custodian, because custodian can lend and borrow and lend that security to the others. Suppose you're looking for a transfer that, or you're looking for a purchase that securities, and at the moment if the securities is not available, so that is like that the custodian is short on that particular account. So nowadays, so it has been restricted, so that you cannot borrow and lend the securities unless and until the counterparties place that securities to you. But this happened usually, okay. There is another terminologies would be there, so that we'll have to understand why the custodians, that we need to inform to the custodians while taking any decisions. Okay, till time here we should stop. Okay. Okay, so market clear का सेक्शन था. Let me पहले तो ये बंद करने दो यार.